if these teams matched up one-on-one, who wins? So if Alabama played TCU, who do you like in that game?
If Alabama plays TCU, I like Alabama to win
Okay.
pretty convincingly.
If Tennessee plays TCU, who do you like?
Funny enough, I like TCU in that one, and I've been saying that all year. It's just a matchup thing. I don't think TCU would have an answer for Max Duggan, or Tennessee would have an answer for Max Duggan.
I think Tennessee would beat TCU just because of the play up front, which I thought was incredibly evident in the championship game, in which they got pushed around on both sides of the ball. I'm not saying Tennessee's great on their defensive line. They're a vertical pass rushing team, which I think would be effective against Max Duggan because they're good at gap contain, or were good at gap contain. New team, new year. But the offensive line, I think, would be able to push TCU around a little bit.
You sound like such a 1980s SEC fan. Oh, it's all about the line of scrimmage.
It still is. It still is. If I were to go strictly by eye test, okay, and I want to go with a healthy Hendon Hooker. Not that Joe Milton didn't play well in the Orange Bowl, but I don't know that Clemson was uber motivated for that game. If I were to go strictly eye test, so Caleb, let's do this. Throw the resumes out the window. Go strictly eye test, okay? I'm going to say Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, TCU. I'm sorry, Tennessee, TCU. Strictly eye test. Strictly eye test. Not what they've done. Just you watch the games. What do you think? If you were strictly eye test, would yours change very much?
Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, TCU. I'm
Yes.
sorry. And so Tennessee would be out of the top 5 in yours?
No, Tennessee would be 5. I'm sorry. TCU would be 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd probably go with that. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't think Alabama is one of the top 2 teams in the country. Their 2 losses were on a last-second field goal and in overtime. And honestly, the only reason they lost that overtime game was because Nick Saban stupidly went for 2 in regulation to go up by 6. Which Dave, explain this to me. Why do coaches? I understand the going for 2 to go up by 3 or go up by 7. It's so old school thinking to say I want to go for 2 to go up by 6. Is 5 and 6 points really that much of a difference? That's so like that is the 1950s way of thinking where extra points seem like they're not a given the way they are now.
No, and what period in the game was that he went for 2? Do you recall?
I think it was the 4th quarter. It was just stupid.
I mean, how much time left in the 4th quarter? Do you remember?
I do not. It was late in the game though. It was late in the game. I'm pretty sure.
I don't understand, first of all, any reason why you would go for 2 to get to 6. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, but I do think coaches in general start to chase points a little too quickly. And when you get into that scenario, you start chasing 2 points, then you end up chasing 2 points for the rest of the game, and that's certainly no good. So
under 5 minutes to go in the 4th was when he did it. No scenario where 6 was better than 5 at that point, particularly when, because LSU scored on the next drive, they ended up going up by a field goal. It reminds me of an underrated, Fulmer actually had a habit of doing that, going for 2 to go up by 6. I think it's an old school way of thinking of, they tie it with a touchdown and let's pretend that they might actually miss the extra point, which they most of the time aren't going to do.